I'm excited because it's like basically like a party on a big ass boat. I mean, it is a big ass boat and it's a party. But I'm gonna bring the jets. It'll be fun, man.
And let me tell you, if you like to drink alcohol, boy, is a cruise ship for you. It's arguably the number one thing there is to do on the ship.
Can we put that on a quote card, please? T on cruise. If you like to drink alcohol, boy, is a cruise ship for you.
The last cruise I went on a few years ago, the like signature drink was called a mango meltdown. Oh, I had some mango meltdowns.
Welcome back to Macrodosing. It is Thursday. It's June 19th. Happy Juneteenth to all those who celebrate. Today's episode is brought to you by our good friends over at Game Time. There's nothing like getting to a baseball game, especially last minute. Luckily for us, we always use Game Time, the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. Game Time makes getting tickets faster, makes it easier. Prices on the app actually go down the closer it gets to showtime. They even get exclusive zone deals. You let them choose your seats within a given set of zones. You get huge savings in return, or as Al Michaels would say, huge savings in return. You can put those savings back in your pocket, spend them at the ballpark on a hot dog, a new hat, or some good old-fashioned Cracker Jack. If you're in Chicago, you can get 10% off zone deals for the Cubs at home on Sunday, June 22nd versus the Mariners. We got Cal Raleigh in town, Big Dumper. The Big Dumper is going to go poo-poo all over the place this weekend. You can get 10% off zone deals for this game, Sunday, June 22nd, Mariners in town. Just look for zones 29 through 32 or zones 203 through 208 on the Game Time app. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code MACRO, get $20 off your first purchase. Get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code MACRO, $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it? Game time. All right, welcome back to Macrodosing. We are going to be talking about the Ocean Gate, the Titan Submersible, the updates that have happened recently. We got two competing documentaries out there right now, HBO and Netflix. So check those out. They're actually both pretty good.
That seems to be happening a lot recently.
Yeah, anytime something happens in the world, we're like, oh, I can't wait for the Netflix documentary. But then other people have that same idea because Netflix doesn't own the idea of doing a documentary. And so then we get like multiple docs about the same thing, and then the key people involved have to decide, like, who am I going to do my interview with? Am I going to go Netflix? Am I going to go HBO?
It's the byproduct of just the TV companies whoring themselves out.
Yeah,
it's getting ridiculous. 48,000 subscriptions. I hate it.
Yep, we're switching back to HBO Max this summer too. By the way, it's not Max anymore. Going back to HBO Max.
I can't keep up. They've changing the name so much.
One of the great branding studies in history.
Yeah, I would agree. I hope they go back to just Max at some point.
Well, because now they merged with Discovery. Now they split again. And so now they're going back to HBO Max, which was the thing originally.
Did they merge with Cinemax? Is that where they got the HBO Max from?
No, that was just like the name. They were like, this is the name of... So it was HBO Go was the HBO app originally. Then I think they got all the content from Discovery and they're like, now it's HBO Max. Like it's better. Then they went to just Max. Then Max, but they changed the logo back or something.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's back to HBO Max, but they split from Discovery. So it's back to what it was when it was HBO Go.
That's what happens when you pay people a lot of money to be senior vice presidents, executive vice presidents. They feel like they always have to earn that salary that they're getting for the most part. And so then they come up with new projects and initiatives just so that they're doing something. And then you get no consistency whatsoever.
So it's HBO Go, HBO Now, HBO Max.
HBO
Max,
Now,
HBO
I knew I was
Max.
forgetting one.
Forgot about that one.
Right. All in the span of 15 years.
I liked the HBO Max era. It was the maximum amount of HBO that you could possibly get. And then when they went to Max, they lost me because I was like, that's your competitor for a long time was Cinemax. When I think Max, I think Cinemax, and now just back to HBO.
Honestly, now when I think Max, I just think of your podcast host mate. And I was watching, it came up on my feed, the first 3-on-3 game.
Yeah.
This motherfucker buried that three, dog.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that shit was exciting to
It was
watch.
electric.
It was
The,
sick.
the whole comeback was like legitimately exciting to watch.
Did you watch?
Horrible
Yeah.
basketball.
Did you watch me and Mackenzie's game yesterday?
I did not. That's the only one I watched. Should I
Easy
put it
win.
on?
Easy win.
Easy dubs. All right, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna check all out.
We play Max in the semis. It's a good game.
That was
Okay.
a good game.
And this already happened.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay. Yeah, that shit was exciting to watch, bro. They should have. Are any of their games close like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of good games.
I like it.
Yeah, a lot of good games, a lot of surprises, a lot of twists and turns. But yeah, the beauty of it is we all suck at basketball for the most part. Some of us suck less than others.
It's not for the most part.
Well, there's a couple guys that can play pretty well.
Oh,
You haven't seen them yet; they haven't played. No, Hank is normally not a bad player. He went 0 for 8 from 3. Give me your breakdown of Hank's game.
he's like the cream of the crop of the like players that suck. Like I give him that, but it's just I guess it's just not a break. He don't have a lot of handles. He gets in his head really fast, like he's cussing himself out, but he's like kind of still nice about it. Like he'll fuck up. He's oh fuck, I'm sorry. It's very interesting. But
I think that's how I would describe my game as well. Is of people who aren't good, I'm pretty good.
You actually have a good shot. Like you can shoot free throws, and you're pretty good at shooting threes as well. It gets a little shaky when you get out 3-point line, but I still think you're one of the better shooters, if not the best shooter in that building, aside from
Tight, yeah.
yeah, Titus. Which I must say I did beat him at a 3 free throw contest. Take what you will with that information.
That's not nothing. What do you think about McKenzie and Mad Dog's game?
Mac actually got
Yeah.
some game. You know what I'm
Do
saying?
not
Like,
think about my game, please.
I was gonna get there. But no, Mac can actually play a little bit. I saw her do the which I did the combine jump.
Yeah, we always have a combine.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime we do anything at Barstool, there's a combine.
Yeah. I think that she got a little game, man. She's a low key athlete. I seen her play a little bit.
High key.
Okay, high key athlete.
I'm honored.
Maddie, I feel like
We don't need to talk about
You taught her everything she knows.
Yeah, which was not much.
Like a month ago.
you was into other things other than sports when you was growing up, and that's okay. You know?
I was not a ball sports player growing up. I did not play sports that involved balls. I also knew going in I would be the worst. I took that in and I said someone's got to do it.
We actually traded Madeline for Mackenzie,
Yeah.
which was a
Major
was a
upgrade.
good deal.
It was a great deal.
Mhm.
Yeah, you guys benefited heavily from that. Yeah,
That
no,
was funny, man.
I suck so bad.
So it's all good though.
That's
Great
okay, someone-
human though. Great
Thank
human.
you.
I
Someone's
fuck
got to
with
be the worst. Someone's
Yeah.
got to lead from the bottom.
And do you know the strongest part of the pyramid is the bottom?
Exactly.
So hold
Right.
it down.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's bad.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep that tournament going. You'll see more games on the Barstool YouTube, but it was a lot of fun to participate in, and it got heated. You're gonna see some shit goes down.
I like it.
By the way, Arian, Hank is he's my golf coach.
Yeah.
And so I see how he like talks to himself sometimes. But when you talk about him apologizing, that's growth for Hank. Like
Okay.
Hank mentally is probably 5 steps better than he used to be, because he used to just like get his own head real fast and not be able to talk his way out. But now he has to have a conversation with himself and be like, I'm sorry for calling you that, Hank. That's okay, Hank. I forgive you. He has to like have the inner dialogue now, which it's healthy.
Me, myself, and Irene.
Yeah.
Hey,
Exactly.
yo, I'm all for the growth, man. But yeah, that's actually entertaining. I'm gonna check out a couple more matches.
It was fun. Then we got the Ryder Cup next week. That's going to be a great time.
I'm excited about that. Been polishing up the game a little bit.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. Yeah.
I've been working on my short game a little bit. What are you working on?
Right now, the weakest part of my game is my drives, and um, it's like my iron striking is the best it's ever been. Like if I don't care where I'm at, if I'm 220 out, if I'm 180, if I'm 140, like I feel confident in the shot, and it's like more for playing my misses, and I'm hitting a lot of greens, but it's just I'm always playing catch up. Like my driver right now is really it's really not good, and it's because my iron striking is so good. So they're different swings. So for my golf lovers out there, like on an iron, you want to hit down on it, and on a drive, you want to hit up. And I have a tendency because I've worked so hard on hitting down on my irons and getting the ball flight and the compression where I want it. So I have a tendency to hit down on my driver, and it's just really it's fucking up the ball flight and just causing a bunch of things to race. So like I have to the setup is different. I get off balance, and so I've just been grinding my drivers for a little while now.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to either competing against you or playing with you. One
Yeah.
of the two. Either
It's
way,
either
it's
my
all good.
it's either my dog or foe. I feel you.
So, Arian's just said before we started taping that you're in the middle of a 3-day water fast right now.
I'm in the beginning of it.
Beginning. Okay. When
Yeah,
did the water fast start?
this morning when I woke up.
Okay. All
So you're
right,
at the
guys.
very
I've
So
beginning.
done it.
you haven't eaten breakfast yet, is what you're saying.
No, I'm not going to. And so I've done this before. Um, and I don't advise it because I'm not a doctor. But for me, what it does is it like resets my body and it I don't know, like all like the little aches and pains that I have, they all just tend to go away. And I've been having more and more of them as I've been enjoying my summer, eating like shit, drinking, just not really, I need to reset and lock back in. And that's always a good like reset, like resets my system. Just like just this caloric deficit just allows my body to like and I think that's how we were supposed to evolve. And that's how we evolved. So I think that's how our bodies naturally like we were I don't think we were made to eat 3 meals a day, 2 meals a day. I think we were made to get a kill, eat, and
Mhm.
then we would grind it out until we found something else to eat. And I think our bodies react to that more naturally. Again, not a doctor, don't know if that's true, but that's just for me.
All right. Well, good luck with the water fast. Do you get any mental clarity from it?
Honestly, it's just a mental like it's just tough because
Mhm.
it's like everywhere you look, people eating, commercials selling food, and like what really helps me out is like I'll watch shit like Naked and Afraid or some kind of like survival show where they're struggling with me, so I feel very I feel very seen. And then
I,
in the commercials is like a Pizza Hut or some shit.
yeah. I find when I'm watching those shows and they're really like laboring to get water, they're thirsty as fuck. They're searching everywhere for water. It makes me thirsty myself. I'm like, oh yeah, I can just go get a glass of water right now.
Yep, yep. And you know the most dangerous thing about water fasting?
No. Overhydration?
Dehydration.
Really?
Because all you have is water, so you think, all right, I've drank enough, but you end up not drinking enough, and you get dehydrated.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I would not think that.
yeah.
By the way, I am remote right now. So for this show, I'm at a lake house that I rented out for the week. So I am going to be remote just for this one show, and then heading back to Chicago this afternoon to do more stuff around the office. But if it sounds any different, that's why. That's why. So we got Big T in studio, Arians in Texas. I'm at the lake house, and then Mad Dog McKenzie also in the studio right now. And Blake is absolutely loving it out here. He's digging the open air vibes, chilling out in the backyard. There's a dog that lives about 2 miles away from this house across this little channel. And I heard it barking the other night. And now Blake, that's his biggest rival. He goes out there and he like listens for that dog and barks back at it. They're having a little conversation. It's kind of adorable. But we got some stuff that we got to get into today. Right off the bat, Tucker Carlson kind of cooked Ted Cruz.
Man,
Tucker Carlson out there making some good
boy,
points.
Chef boy, our Tuck, he did his thing.
Our
Did his
Tuck,
thing.
my man
Uh,
Tuck. Yeah.
how to explain this to me if you can, Big T? Why are the girls fighting? What is the right in fighting?
I think I said this to y'all last night. From what I've seen, I think many people on the left are maybe didn't understand or are just surprised to the degree at which many people on the right are serious about America first. We don't want to. If Israel is trying to get us involved in a war with Iran, then they can fuck off too. Like, we don't. I want no more money spent on illegal immigrants and no more money spent on wars in the Middle East.
I personally just don't want anybody to get killed in the Middle East.
That too, obviously.
Yeah. So when Tucker was going at Ted Cruz, like, he was actually attacking him from the point of view, like, Tucker, by the way, was just as bad as anybody back in the days of the Iraq War.
Mm-hmm.
But he was doing a lot of the same stuff that people used to say to, like, George Bush, like, hey, can you tell us anything about this country? Anything at all? And then Ted Cruz is like, what's all this gotcha stuff here, Ted? What, or Tucker? Why are we doing gotcha stuff? And the reality is, like, if you're a senator and you're sending people to go fight and die in a war halfway around the world, you should probably know the basic facts about the country and where you're sending them to go. And he's like, what, you want me to know the population? You want me to know the ethnic breakdown? Yeah, those would be two great things for a senator to know before you send thousands of troops into either Iraq, like we did there without knowing shit about the country, or Iran. They're doing like the same playbook with Iran too. It's like, we don't want the smoking gun to be a mushroom cloud. That's what Dick Cheney said back in like 2002. And then Ted Cruz and his bros are like, yeah, you know, we don't want to get our final warning with a mushroom cloud over New York or Los Angeles. We want to take them out preemptively. It's like, no, we haven't learned shit if that's what our senators are saying right now. And yeah, Tucker cooked him just like right to his face. It was kind of cool to see.
He did. Okay, so break it down for me because I think I know, what's going on. So Iran they have uranium enrichment programs, or they have too. We think they have too much, and uranium is a key element in building a nuke.
Yeah, so we've been negotiating with Iran for decades now, trying to figure out a way for them to not have a nuclear weapon, but potentially to use nuclear energy.
Okay.
And there's been back and forth for the last 40 years trying to keep them from getting to the point where they have a nuclear weapon. And in that give and take, they've stopped their enrichment programs. They've restarted again a few times. I mean, way back in, I think it was the 60s or maybe the 70s, Israel did like a famous nighttime raid, or not a nighttime raid, but like a sneaky raid where they preemptively bombed their nuclear facilities. And so now they're enriching uranium, and depending on who you listen to, they might be enriching it a little bit too much for a peaceful program. But nobody, like, we don't have any evidence that they're building a nuclear weapon right now. It's Israel. They're mad at Iran because Iran has funded Hamas in the past, and they've also always been mad at Iran because Iran has they've made public statements about like wanting to attack and wipe Israel off the face of the earth. And so Israel is like, okay, we're taking out all of Hamas right now. We're expanding in some of the settlements that we have. They're like, very much Israel is in a mission where it's like, no. One thing that I think people could understand a little bit more about Israel sometimes is that their doctrine is like, if you so much as like breathe on them, if you attack them, they will respond like 10x, 100x to what you did, because they see themselves as being like under attack from all angles in the Middle East. So if they want to send a message like, if you fuck with any of us, we're going to go so far overboard that we're going to basically eliminate you. And that's how they've always been. Since I think it was like the Uganda, when they kidnapped or they hijacked one of the planes and landed it in Uganda. That's when Netanyahu's brother was killed in a raid rescuing all those hostages. And so in his mind, he's always got that in the back of his head, like, don't let anybody fuck with you at all. And if they do, just wipe them and their family out, take care of everything. And so after going after Hamas and going into Gaza and just bombing the shit out of that, they're looking at Iran being like, you fund Hamas. You've said very, very violent things about Israel in the past. So now we're going to preemptively attack you. And we have the U.S. backing us up, providing us military cover, possibly participating in the raids. Like Ted Cruz admitted to that with
That
Tucker
was
Carlson.
was really crazy. He said we.
Yeah. And then he got all stumbly when he was like, "Wait, what's we? You're breaking some news here, Ted." He's like, "Well, the
See,
we
and that
support."
and that's why I gotta give credit where it's due. Is Tucker
Yeah.
Carlson did a great job. That is what journalism should be. Like that,
Mhm.
that was great journalism. It's like, yo, that all of his points were poignant. They made sense. They were coherent, and they challenged conflicting ideals. Like they don't do that. He never does that when he's doing it like to a Trump or something like that. They never do that. And if I want one time to him sit in an interview and just actually have to defend all the shit that he has said. But so this is a question I have because again I don't know much about this. If this big and this is to you, Big T. I see. I heard you say why they're infighting. This is like a contradictory belief system, in my opinion, right? Because a lot of the America First people are Christians, and Christians believe that Israel is a holy land and the chosen people, right?
Yeah, I think there's to what PFT said about I think what PFT said is actually, you said it like you may not believe it to be true. I do believe it's true. Israel is constantly under attack, and there is an argument to be had that they need it, that it's beneficial for us to have them as an ally in the Middle East, things of that nature. But at a certain point, if they're, for instance, if they are attacked like they were by Hamas, that's one thing. If they're preemptively striking Iran and just kind of telling us after the fact, like, hey, y'all are in on this, right? That's different.
Yeah, I mean, they are also hitting other countries over in the Middle East too. It's not just Iran. They have been very active in Syria. They're active in Yemen, certainly, and a few other places too. Now in Iran, and yeah, they've been under attack. There's been wars going on in that specific location in the world for the last 70 years, pretty much nonstop. And so it's always one side getting redemption for what the other side most recently did to them. And if we're going to be getting involved in a war in Iran, you can count me out, buddy. And Tucker, I think he did a good job because Ted thought that this was going to be like a friendly, let's jerk each other off for 30 minutes type interview. And he was not ready for Tucker, because I think Tucker has realized, maybe accurately, he's way, way more popular than Ted Cruz. I don't think anybody really likes Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz kind of drifts along with whatever is politically expedient for him at the time. And he doesn't have any values that he is rock solid behind. Whoever is in power and whoever is more popular than him, whoever can put a big shine on him and make sure that he can get reelected and raise money, he'll kind of go along with whatever's happening. So he did not expect Tucker to have a backbone in that interview, and he did, and absolutely cooked him.
Did you ever see Ted Cruz's daughter?
Yeah.
Behind him, that shit was so funny. I think they're at some I think it was he got reelected or something like that, and he just said something about we like Trump or something like that. And his daughter's in the background going,
Yeah.
that shit's funny though. I would love to be a fly on one of those conversations.
You the guy that called mom ugly?
Yeah, fucking crazy, dog.
Mm-hmm.
What a fucking coward, dog.
Yeah, so I don't know which direction Trump's going to go with it. He seems to be in the camp of Iran should not have a nuclear weapon. But also, I think he's going to get a lot of pushback from the Tucker Carlsons and the America First thing. Which,
hey man, I respect it. I respect Republicans that are now, because Trump's big thing, he had quotes about saying Obama and Biden were going to lead us into war with Iran. He specifically said that because they're weak and they want to appear strong. He said this a lot. And now that we're on the brink of that, they're like, well, hold on now. I respect the Republicans that are saying, listen, this is not what we signed up for.
And by the way,
I can appreciate that.
I think everyone agrees nobody wants Iran to have a nuclear weapon, but is there concrete evidence that we think they're close to that? Like we seem to do this every 10 years or so, and they never get one.
Yeah,
I don't. Netanyahu's been saying this shit for maybe 20 years now,
maybe
something like
longer.
that. Yeah.
I mean, Iran's been trying to get one for 50 years, and they still don't have one. So,
yeah, I don't think that there's any concrete evidence that is public, at least. Like,
Well,
they
wait a
can
minute.
tell you, like they said it was a slam dunk. Like, okay, think back to 2002 when we're getting ready to go to war with Iraq, and Dick
Jeez,
Cheney and George
2002.
Bush are like building the case up for that. The case they were making at the time, they were 10 times more confident than any case I've heard about Iran having a nuclear weapon right now. Like, they were 100% like, here's the evidence. We've got all the receipts. All the receipts were bullshit that they brought up, and they got proven to be bullshit. So yeah, if somebody just says that about another country, and listen, yeah, Big T, you're right. Like, Iran, the leadership of Iran, not good people, bad people.
100%.
Bad government in place, very repressive government. Does that mean that we should go like kill everybody and have our soldiers die over there, and then the ones that do come back for the next 30 years, they have to deal with like all the repercussions and PTSD and like physical injuries of going over there? No, absolutely not. So,
but also, and I realize this is an oversimplification, but just to make the point, if Iran does get a nuclear weapon, what happens? We go to war. So we're going to go to war preemptively to like, I mean, we're going to war over something that we would go to war over anyway if they got it. It's like this is a much more oversimplification, but we're trading away a star player, getting prospects back, hoping the prospects are as good as the player we're trading away. You may as well just stick it out.
Yeah.
And see what happens.
War analogy, war sports analogies. I love it.
Yeah,
but you see what I'm saying?
Explain it. You're not wrong. Explain to me this. Why did Trump originally back out of the Iran deal?
Because Obama did it.
Like
he was against that deal for like the last 10 years, maybe longer. I forget. I think it was like 2013, 2014 when it got done originally. And at the time, Trump was like, he wasn't running for president or anything, but he was active in political discourse. And so he was saying that it's the worst deal ever made. Obama doesn't know what he's doing. I can make a better deal. I'm a great deal maker. Everybody knows that about me. And so he's been against this deal for a very long time. But he might have had like some points that the deal wasn't perfect, because the deal is not perfect that was in place, but it did stop Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. But it also gave Iran a lot of their money back that we had frozen. It wasn't perfect, but it wasn't terrible. And so because it was Obama that did that, then Trump's like, this thing sucks. I'm going to tear it up. I'm going to redo it. And then in the middle of redoing it, he was like, hey, Israel, please don't bomb Iran right now because we're working on a deal. And then Israel was like, okay, sure, no problem. And then boom, we're going to strike them.
I mean, I hate to laugh at this, but that's all you can do. We put a deal in place so they don't start to attempt to acquire nuclear weapons. Trump undoes the deal, and now we're saying that we think that they're starting to attempt to have nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
I will say that in the last 30 minutes, 3 Iranian government planes have landed in Oman, which is the country that is mediating the talks between us and Iran.
Okay.
So some people seem to think like maybe they're trying to work something out. I don't know.
Okay.
There's this Twitter account that's, I don't think they're connected to the Iranian military, are they?
No.
Oh, I've seen that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, they tweet crazy right now.
Yeah.
I see somebody saying, they tweeting like King Von.
They have some crazy hype videos.
Yeah. It's like a fan account for an NFL team, except just for the Iranian military.
Wow, man. Golly.
Oh, you know what else is a great Twitter account to follow is the one that monitors pizza delivery sales in and around the Pentagon.
I have questions about that.
Okay, let's talk about it.
So it's you. Have you not seen this, Arian?
No. What's the account called?
I don't know that it's a specific account, but people online follow the how busy the pizza places are around the Pentagon, and if it spikes up a lot, the deduction is they're ordering a ton of pizza to the Pentagon because they're all going to be there super late because we're going to war. Which,
Pizza
yes.
Index.
and it has in specific instances been correct.
It's at Penn Pizza Report, PEN Pizza Report, because they don't have a pizza place at the Pentagon. It's like the world's largest office building pretty much, and they've got a cafeteria. They've got some restaurants in there, but they don't have any pizza. So
150,000 followers for this dog.
Yeah, if you're working late at the Pentagon, you're probably ordering pizza, and if the pizza delivery activity is high, then yeah, that probably means we're launching some cruise missiles.
Have you seen what the new index is?
The gay bar.
Yeah.
That's nearby. The gay bars that are close to the Pentagon, if they're less busy than normal.
Right, so that's the opposite. It's an inverse.
Yeah, inverse proportionality. That means that all the gay people at the Pentagon are working late.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
15 hours ago, huge surge in traffic at the nearest Domino's to the Pentagon.
Now, you see, it's gotten too big now, where now the Pentagon knows about it. So
that's what I was going to ask.
Pizza. Yeah.
Is number one, they certainly know about this. And number two, it just uses like Google trackers. Are these pizza places how does Google know if a place is busier than usual or not? That's more of just a technological question.
I've wondered that. If you're looking at a bakery near your house and it's like, oh, it's busier than normal right now. How do they know that it's currently busier? Like, are they tracking your phone's location? How are they doing that?
That probably makes sense.
And if we should curtail that. But like, okay, but for a pizza place, it's all delivery. So that doesn't work.
Yeah, I don't know how they're coming up with maybe just searches for it. I'm not sure, but I want to start a pizza place by the Pentagon called like, I don't know, Battle Pizza for wartime. And then just report my own data. Be like, yeah, if you're ordering Battle Pizza late at night, that means that you're starting a war.
Probably like, if you like only hired veterans, could be a good branding opportunity.
Yeah, pizza for war fighters. That's the new thing, by the way. When did warfighter become such a popular term to use that we've seen in the last like 2 years?
This is the first I'm hearing of this.
Yeah, I've never heard warfighter before.
Oh, you haven't?
This might just be in the plane community.
No. Let me put you guys on warfighter real quick. It's Pete Hegseth's like favorite word to say. He's like, I want to do more to support our warfighters. Our warfighters are out there. It's just another term for a soldier. If you want to sound like more badass.
Warfighter.
Yeah.
Never heard that one.
Yeah, look into it. Do a deep dive on.
Sounds kind of woke to me. It sounds like soldier erasure.
No. This is it's big in like the veteran coffee community.
That's what I meant to ask you. A dude hit me on Twitter and he didn't respond, but this is a hard pivot. But he was saying that I'm woke, and I was like, okay, what does that mean? And he's like, you just know it when you see it. I'm like, okay, well, I can't really. And he said there was a character in a movie that was white, and now she's black. What was Little Mermaid? He's like, that's woke. And I'm like, why is that woke? Like, mermaids aren't real. And he's like, it's just you're changing that. I was like, okay. I was like, so I said, is white Jesus woke? Big T?
It's not woke, but it's wrong or inaccurate.
But see, why wouldn't that be woke?
I think I would say that something is woke, and I know you quibble with the definition of that word often.
No, you quibble with it. I know exactly where it came from and what it means.
I know, but you have a problem with its usage now.
Because y'all don't know what it means. I can't get a clear definition. Your definition is you know it when you see it. And when you give it, I understand what people think it means, but when you flip it around, like in that context, by that logic, white Jesus should be woke. Because contextually, historically, Jesus was not a white man. But white
Yeah,
Jesus,
that's fine if you want to say that. I don't have an issue with you saying that.
white Jesus woke. I kind of like that notion. White Jesus is woke.
Arian's proud of that one. Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. I like it.
I think the definition has now become like emphasizing social justice due to historically persecuted classes of people above all other evaluatory processes. Does that make sense?
No.
Yes.
I love that. I think if you had to ask somebody to define woke, right, but it's a word that you just call something that you don't like.
Yeah.
All right, we got anything else to add to that, or we want to talk about the WNBA, Big T?
I would love nothing more than to talk about the WNBA. It's my favorite topic.
Arian, did you see the clip of Caitlin Clark?
I did not. Let me just.
So she got like raked across the face. They like somebody kind of open hand finger slapped her face, might have gotten her eye, and then she got knocked down, all on the same play. 3 technical fouls, a flagrant one, and Big T's very upset about the state of the WNBA.
I promise I'm not.
Let's see here.
Yeah, watch this play.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch this clip real quick. Yeah. 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 Yes.
Arian, also go search Sophie Cunningham. That's Caitlin Clark's teammate. She got some retaliation.
I saw. I'm watching the whole clip right now. I'm just watching it slow-mo now.
Well, then there was
Sophie's
retaliation
later
It was
on
a
in the
different
game.
play.
Oh, different play. Okay. Okay. Here it goes.
She's personally one of my favorite WNBA players.
Yes, sir. Oh yeah, and this is what we want. I love this. Yes, more of this all the time. I'm on record saying there should be way more fights in sports. Absolutely. Absolutely. I love this. I love this for the WNBA. Shout out to Caitlin Clark. Shout out to whoever punched her in the face. Kind of allegedly punched. Like a little jab. I love it. What's the issue? What are the people saying?
Big T's, I think, upset at the business model.
Again, I don't care, but as we've discussed previously, it does seem like the most hated player in the WNBA by her peers is the one who single-handedly has the ability to make them more money, which is an odd dynamic to me.
Michael Jordan.
It is not that odd. You think Tom Brady was unilaterally loved? No, motherfuckers hated him. Golden boy.
The NFL is making money hand over fist with or without Tom Brady.
That's sports, though. Why do you feel the need to differentiate? That's sports. You got a golden boy? I'm gonna go at his ass. Fuck him. That's who's your top dude. I'm taking him down. This is what?
But do you think it goes beyond competitiveness on the court at all?
Yes.
Okay, then we agree.
Have you never played sports before? That's what you do. You fight.
I'm saying, do you think the dislike of Caitlin Clark from other players goes beyond on the court?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, then we agree.
That just seems where we disagree is that's
everywhere.
Is this good or bad for the WNBA? I think it's good for the WNBA.
It's great. Them stadiums is looking packed now. I remember
when she's
the
playing,
WNBA I grew up with. No, that's not true.
That is true.
Angel Reese, no. There's been packed stadiums without Caitlin Clark, my guy.
The Indiana Fever's attendance when she was out for the last couple of weeks went from like 17,000 to 3.
That is a great anecdote, but that does not dispute what I said. There has been packed stadiums. There has been a lot more people going to games in general. The viewership is up. Ticket sales are up. Interest is up. Traffic on Twitter's up.
Huh. Aaron, did you see that Angel Reese? She got the trademark for the term "me bounds."
Oh, she jacked it for. I saw that somebody said she was getting me bounds, and she ran with it. I do like that.
Yeah, it's a good move on her part. Instead of trying to fight against it, yeah, listen, sometimes you shoot some ugly ass layups and you're the only one that's big and strong enough to get your own ugly rebounds.
Yeah.
And so it bounces off the rim and the backboard twice and you grab it and then you make your second shot. Like, yeah, that happens sometimes. Own it. Like,
Yeah.
be in control of it. So I like that.
No, I love it. I think what's happened, the racial undertones of that rivalry on top of the just the lull that sport has created this dynamic of Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark when the talent disparity is big. Angel Reese is probably a solid WNBA player. Caitlin Clark's like one of the best that we've seen. And so that has created a fandom around Caitlin Clark. And they're going to go at her nemesis. And so she's getting a lot. So I'm happy that she's like, taking it in stride and saying, yeah, me bounce. I like that. That's good. That's good for her. It's good for her mental health. She should also log off.
Yep.
It's not healthy.
Real quick, just nationally televised WNBA games were down 55% during Caitlin Clark's injury.
Okay. She's
by far
the most popular player. Yeah,
she's the popular player.
Nobody's disputed that. What you're fighting a straw man.
Well,
what was ass, Big T?
There's some other popular players in the WNBA. Brianna Stewart is a popular player.
What's that? Yeah.
Not even in the same. Yeah, so popular you forgot her name. Not even in the same stratosphere.
Yes, Sabrina Ionescu.
There are. I think there are better players than Caitlin Clark. But popularity is something that you can't control.
Yeah, I mean every available metric says the league goes as Caitlin Clark goes.
Yeah, I mean she's huge for the league. There's no doubt about that. The NBA wasn't exactly doing great before Michael Jordan came along, right? Before Magic and Larry had that rivalry, and then Jordan, they beat the fuck out of Michael Jordan for the first few years. Beat the shit out of him. They hated him.
Mm-hmm. Isaiah Thomas, Detroit Pistons had Jordan rules.
Yeah,
don't let this motherfucker in the paint. Whoop his ass.
Yeah,
that's what I like. I like that shit better than NBA. Honestly, shit.
I actually think Angel Reese at some point, if she could, maybe they can admit at one point that they just love each other. And it all comes from a place of like, I want to be your best friend. And then Angel Reese becomes a teammate of Caitlin Clark. I think she would be like the perfect teammate for Caitlin Clark.
That would be hilarious.
In terms of like their game together, right?
Low key. You really want to bring America get it together.
Like Caitlin Clark fans would love Angel Reese if she was out there knocking people out that were like reaching up to Caitlin's eyeballs and poking her in the face. And then Angel Reese comes in, cleans them out. Is a big presence down below, getting some rebounds off any missed threes, working the two-man game with Caitlin. It will be fun to watch. We'll probably never see it, but
no, we ain't never see that.
One can hope.
Request denied.
Actually, I don't hope that. I want the rivalry.
The rivalry's fun. Every time them two square off. Primetime TV, baby. Love to see it. I think it's great. I think they should continue to whoop her ass. And she's continue to ball out on them.
You watch every time they play?
No.
Okay.
I did like.
I'm saying in general, like there are millions of people that enjoy watching that game. I don't watch NBA now. Like I'm kind of checked out of basketball in general. So it's not like I don't really watch.
I was really hoping you were going to say yes. I was going to try to Tucker Carlson.
Nah, I'm an honest man, Big T.
Ask what arena the Sky play in.
I couldn't tell you Caitlin Clark. They play in the United Center.
Sometimes, yeah. Where do they play when they're not playing Caitlin Clark? The games that are so popular, also.
Sun something.
Not even close.
I know it.
Would you like to answer?
Is it Wintrust?
That's correct.
I was close. I was gonna say Sunrise. That's pretty close. Two syllables.
I couldn't tell you 90% of the stadiums that I played in what their names are.
Really?
No.
Can we do
even know about Touchdown Jesus?
Yeah, I didn't know that
that's true. Kind of.
Notre Dame had Jesus.
One of the most iconic sites in college football.
Yeah, I don't know what that stadium's called. What's that stadium called?
Notre Dame Stadium.
Notre Dame Stadium.
There you go.
Okay, so Arian, you played in the AFC South for a while for the Texans.
Hmm.
When you played against the Colts, what was the name of that stadium?
I know that. That's Lucas Oil Field.
Okay. When you played against the Tennessee Titans, what was that?
Now that's tricky because it's changed a couple times. But when you played, I know what it was.
I have no idea. What is it?
When you played, it was LP Field. Now it's
LP?
Nissan Stadium. And
I've never heard of either of them since.
before LP, it was Adelphia Stadium, I think.
No clue.
What about the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Nope.
What about the Miami Dolphins? You played on that team.
That is Hard Rock.
Mm-hmm.
Hard Rock Cafe.
That one's
That's
been
not
12
right.
names.
Hard Rock Stadium.
Hard Rock Stadium. Right?
For a while, wasn't it like Land Shark Stadium?
Land Shark. It's been Pro Player Stadium, Joe Robbie Stadium. What was the sponsor before Land? Sun. This one was a Sun. It was Sun something. Hang on.
No, I don't know.
SunTrust.
No, that was the Braves before they changed to Truist.
I have selective memory. I have limited bandwidth and shit like that just doesn't make the cut.
Yeah.
Hang on. I gotta find
I know. Let me see.
Okay, here are all the names of Hard Rock Stadium. The facility opened in 87 as Joe Robbie Stadium, then transitioned to Pro Player Park, Pro Player Stadium, Dolphins Stadium, Dolphin Stadium, Land Shark Stadium, and Sun Life Stadium.
Sun Life.
Sun Life, yeah.
Let me see. I know MetLife. Is that still one?
Mm-hmm.
MetLife. I know. I'm struggling. I just don't remember.
I bet I know. Name a team. Let's see if I know where they play.
The Washington Commanders.
They play currently at FedEx Field.
Wrong. 0 for 1.
Did they change it?
Yep.
All right,
Wrong.
but it is FedEx Field.
No, last year it was not FedEx Field.
No, I know, but it's the state. What's it called now?
It is Northwest Federal Credit Union
Well, of course it is.
Stadium.
Jesus Christ.
All right.
The
Well,
Fed.
okay. What? Give me two more.
Okay. The Baltimore Ravens.
So I know it. Well, at one point it was M&T Bank Stadium.
I think it still is.
Okay.
Let's go with the Seattle Seahawks.
Okay. So theirs has
man.
changed. I believe it's now Lumen Field.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was one of the funner atmospheres to play in. That shit was fun.
The 49ers.
Levi's.
Let's go with the Arizona Cardinals.
Wow, that's fucking weird.
Oh, so this one's changed too. Is it still University of Phoenix?
Ooh. Is that one that has a different field and stadium name?
I know it used to be University of Phoenix Stadium or Field or something.
Nope, it's changed.
Is it State Farm?
State Farm
That's
Stadium.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the Raiders?
That is Allegiant Stadium.
Yeah, why do you know this? Like how does this?
I watch a lot
We
of sports,
watch-
brother.
We
We
watch
got you.
sports. It's kind of what we do.
That's true.
It's like if you're a senator asking, like, what's the population of Iran? You just know that stuff.
You just know.
Baseball, I'd be stunned if I don't know all 30.
Okay.
Let's
go.
go the Brewers.
Brewers play at American Family Field, formerly
Yeah.
known as Miller Park.
Guardians?
That's fucking
Guardians
right.
play at Progressive Field.
Correct. Do you know what it was called before Progressive?
It was Jacobs Field.
Good.
This is like dozen material. Like this is shit.
It actually
too.
this
It
was
is
a
a
category
dozen,
yesterday
yeah.
in the tournament.
Wow. See?
We've
Look at that.
had stadium questions before on the dozen.
There was
See?
one question, not to drill down on Jeff D'Lo too hard. I know he gets it from all angles. He gets every hole filled by everybody with complaints about how he does the dozen, how he writes the questions. There was one category yesterday that kind of it got my goat. It irritated me. When he did the stadiums question and you didn't have to say which stadium belonged to which sport, you just had to say what 3 sports were in those stadiums. Come on, Jeff. We got this is the end of the season tournament, right? That's like not having the finals trophy on the court. We have to raise the level of question writing in addition to the level of play. And that was some Mickey Mouse stuff from Jeff.
Mickey Mouse stuff.
It's bad. It's bad. Okay, Big T. Cincinnati Reds.
Great American Ballpark, which is not an ode to America's pastime. It's an insurance company, which ruins the name for me.
Okay.
Hey, who's cuz real quick? Cuz on the Reds, tall black dude.
Ellie
with a
De La
chain.
Cruz.
That motherfucker hard. Okay, go ahead.
I know we were talking about rubbing the baseballs down with mud the other week. Big T, did you read the article about the seams being elevated?
Yes, I did.
So baseball, Arian, baseball, first of all, MLB owns the company that produces the baseballs. And this year, the seams are a little bit higher than they have been in the past on the balls. And balls are traveling on average 4 feet less than they used to travel last year.
Okay.
So it's like a dead ball era, a little mini dead ball era for baseball. And the batters are not happy.
Okay, a little nerf on it.
I actually, this is a teed off of mine. We just accept that in baseball every year they're like, yeah, the balls are completely different. We decided that there's just not going to be home runs this year. And that like 2023, Arian, the balls were, I don't know if they put helium in them or something. The balls were so juiced, you hit a routine pop-up and it would fly out of the ballpark. Like, I think it's like 3 of the 5 highest home run totals in MLB history by a team, I think, were all in 2023. The Braves tied the all-time record. Like, and then last year they were down a little bit, and this year they're down a ton. Like, they just change the ball every year, and people accept that that's like okay. Like, if this happened in the NFL, people would lose their fucking minds. If you just showed up one year and the football was different, they're like, yeah, new ball this year. Deal with it.
Yeah, it's great. Well, they did that in basketball one time.
Yeah, well, that was a different, like, that was a literal new ball. But then they got rid of it after like 2 weeks because the players hated it so much.
I don't love it, but I also, I was a former athlete, Big T, and we were coached. Listen, you have no control over what those people do and how they make the rules. Your job is to show up and play ball and do your job. And that's just how we was coached. We was coached like, hey, everybody has to deal with the same variables. Made a better man win.
For sure. But if you showed up to training camp one year and they were like, the ball is 3 inches bigger now, like, that would be a massive change.
It would. Got to adapt, though, because everybody playing with the same shit.
Yeah, no, if the seams have been lower, you would have heard about this a long time ago because the guys that touch the balls the most are the pitchers, and they would be complaining about it. But since the seams are higher, the pitchers haven't said shit about it because they're like, it's awesome.
In the same vibe, the golf balls, there's been talk of kind of nerfing the golf balls because the distances are getting wild. I'm actually for that. I'm actually for that. I know a lot of golfers aren't. They're like, fuck no, don't mess with it. But I think there has to be a limit, or else it's like playing in an elevated course. You know what I mean? You hitting 450-yard drives. It's just courses weren't built for that, and so they're either gonna have to build other courses or nerf the ball a little bit. And I'm all for nerfing the ball because I like watching great iron play. I like watching around the greens. I think it would be good for the game. I think Tiger had a really good take on it. I understand people's argument against it, but I like Tiger's take was like have a limit for pro balls and allow people to. I don't know if he said this part, but allow people to like I could buy a pro ball and play with that pro ball if I want to, but have balls for amateurs so that you can fly away with it. I like that.
Yeah, I'm into that. I think the biggest change has been the drivers.
Yeah,
drivers are crazy. When I was in high school and I got my first set of clubs, I got like secondhand clubs that played against sports.
Great store.
Every single club was like a different brand in the set. And then the drivers and the woods were actually wood. They were made out of persimmon. I had my first driver.
Hold on, you ain't that old, dog. Hold on.
They were probably not secondhand, maybe third or fourth hand clubs.
Brother, we grew up in the metal driver era. Listen, I do this.
I got my first metal driver when I was 19 years old.
That was the store you went to. The pros at the time were playing with metal drivers. People
Yes.
were available. Metal drivers were available.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, he's just saying that he had old clubs.
Yeah, but he made it sound like it wasn't that far off from hitting. No, it was. It was.
It was impossible to hit that thing, and it would like sting your hands. The sweet spot was tiny as shit.
That's where the old thing says "hit it on the screws" came from. There were screws on the driver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember TaylorMade had their driver, the Tie Bubble 2. That was like the big innovation that they had in the mid to late 90s. And you go back and you look at that driver, which was like an incredible driver back then, and you compare it to the size of the drivers now, they're comically big. Drivers are so big right now. And I'm not complaining, because if it wasn't for those, I'd be way worse at golf than I am right now. But yeah, the technology and just the drivers themselves and the size has gotten crazy out of hand.
So how do you remedy that? Like, you put a limit or a cap on the materials that you can use, the design, because or the size?
There's a rule. There's a rule for how big your driver can be.
Okay.
But you remember the club, I think it was Callaway, they had the Big Bertha.
Oh yeah.
And when you look at the Big Bertha right now, it's so funny how small it is, even though it's called the Big Bertha. But back in the day, it was like, holy shit, look at the size of this thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Damn.
Size matters.
Yo, okay, this might be a little grotesque, but I saw a tweet that I never really, you know what I mean? No, never mind. I'm good.
Oh, you're
Okay.
doing this on purpose.
Never mind.
All right. What did the tweet say?
Didn't say nothing. I don't even know what y'all talking about. Man, did y'all see Tucker Carlson? And
Well, now we have to know.
we don't
say?
We don't.
Like size matters.
Size matters.
And we can't. I was gonna say I'm gonna go through Arian's likes and try to find it, but now you can't even do that.
Fucking Elon. Hey, I'll tell you this about Elon. I do like a few of the things that he has done at Twitter. I like
what?
I like Grok.
Okay.
I do like Grok.
But do you not hate under every single tweet people being like, "At Grok, is this true? Is this
No, I don't hate that.
I hate it.
Why do you hate it?
It just it's like I don't know. I just it's every single tweet. And I think it reminds me of like the average intelligence of people out there that are just like using the Twitter AI to determine if everything in their life is accurate.
Yeah, it's so funny.
I don't know. I don't hate it.
When Grok gives like a disappointing answer, then they start arguing with Grok.
That's the funnier part to me.
Did you see the kid who graduated from UCLA and they're like taking the camera around the crowd of graduates or whatever, and he pulls out his computer and just pulls out the ChatGPT that he used for every one of his final exams, and he's going like, yeah. Mm-hmm. It's like, and listen, people have always found ways to cheat in school, whatever, but like, it does seem like we're getting to a point where, I mean, you can just not do anything and make it through UCLA and like be good to go.
That's always been the case, though. It's just more efficient. It's way more efficient.
Yes,
so,
people have always.
What's the difference? Tell me what the difference is. Getting something to write your paper for, that's, again, it's a more efficient way to do what people have done for years. I was in college. I definitely had some papers written for me. You know, it was a thing.
Sure, but like at least when
there were college students that got paid from that. You know what I'm saying?
Sure,
college
for
students
sure.
Who, like,
but I
hustled.
would say the way that a lot of people did it was like, okay, you have to write a report on X book, whatever, and you would go to Spark Notes because you didn't read the book, and you would get the gist of it, and then you would still have to write the paper, and you'd have to learn how to write or whatever. Like now, it spits something out for you. You change a couple words, and now that they had the AI detectors and whatever, now there's antidotes to that you put it through that make it look like it's not AI. And it's just like you don't have to do anything.
Yeah, but again, I think this is, I don't understand why people get upset at this, because people that are graduating in fields that where they have to know the material aren't doing that.
You hope.
Can't do that. No, you can't. You can't. Like an engineer, for example, it's one of the hardest degrees to get. You can't AI your way through that. You have to know the information. You have to know certain math and physics. You have to know these things. And even if you didn't, like, so like I always mention my dude, I got a buddy who's a program engineer or software engineer. And he's like, dog, I barely even work anymore. I run all my stuff through Grok. I fact check and I check it to make sure it's right. You know what I'm saying? And he always says, like, that software is as good as the questions you give it. So if it's off and you know it's off, you can tweak it, tweak it, tweak it. He's like, it's amazing. But that is going to be the future. And I don't know. I just don't hate it. So like, if what's the difference between me saying, okay, I want to know about Iran, the population size, the ethnic mix. I want to know that stuff. So I'm gonna go to an encyclopedia. I go to an encyclopedia and read it. What's the difference between that and I go to a Grok or a ChatGPT and say, this is what I want to know. Boom, give me your sources. Cross check those sources. It's just more efficient.
In that instance, not a ton, but I do, and I think you're talking more on a level of like capability, which is a concern, but I think more so the issue is like there's going to be an entire generation of kids who, if you learn how to do something and then you use aids in the future to like get an answer quicker, like you know how to do it, but you just don't want to or need to because something else can do it quicker. That's one thing. But I think there's going to be a generation of people who like don't know how to do things.
Like what? It depends on what you
like write, do math.
What do you need to write for?
Me? A good bit.
Anybody.
Actually.
Huh?
If like, I mean, just writing emails to people at work is like everybody needs to know how to write. Like
everybody who doesn't know how to write.
In a few years, maybe a lot of people.
Some writers that we have working at Barstool Sports.
Yeah.
Bro, I forgot y'all write articles for them. I open up my Gmail right now, right? And there's this thing called Companion AI, right? I don't write much emails, but it gives people options to like, okay, what do you want to write about? Boom. And it kind of like structures it for you. I don't understand, like, why is that a bad thing?
But it's again, if you know how to write an email well and you just want that to do it quicker, that's great. But you surely can understand if someone grows up and like they don't know how to write, like they can't do it, that's bad.
Who are these people that can't write?
I think a lot of kids right now.
I don't think so, man.
I think you're underestimating the pervasiveness of this issue.
I think a lot of shit that we think we need, we don't need. Like if that is the point of technology, right? You sound like old man on a hill. I understand. Because like there are a generation, 2 generations, 3 generations above you who felt the exact same thing when computers came out. Like these kids just ain't gonna be able to. How you gonna find your way around the city if you don't know where you're going? If you don't know how to read a map, you know what I mean? Like we don't need that shit anymore. We don't need to write emails anymore. Fuck, you need to write an email for?
Maybe you're right. I think you're underselling the. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think people are undereducated. If that's your point, then I agree. But
when you say undereducated, what does that mean?
I don't think we put enough resources in our schools. I think we underpay our teachers. I think the school supplies are skewed to affluent neighborhoods, buildings, infrastructure, all of that shit. I think is poorly under serviced by our government. Absolutely. And
okay, so now take that in conjunction with the fact that their kids are just using ChatGPT for everything. Now nobody's learning a thing.
But again, I don't know that they ever were. Like, we don't this is not a country where we prioritize education. It never has. We prioritize sports and entertainment in this country. We don't prioritize education. And so we never had anything like that. There are pockets of people that do, but for the most part, we're probably average. I would like to see the stats. I don't know, but I would guess like we don't do it like other countries. And so because we don't do like we don't invest in it. And so because we don't invest in it, it's a product you get. And so to me, AI is like a tool. It's a tool. Tools can be used to build or destroy. And so if you understand how to use it, you could learn anything. And that to me is amazing. You
All right.
literally have the world at your fingertips. That is amazing to me.
I agree with you, but you're an adult who understands how to, you went to school, whatever. I think you brought up a good point. Like, who has the best education in the probably like Japan or something?
I don't even,
Japan. I would guess it's Japan just off the top of my head. I don't know. What do
Japan,
you
China, something like that.
what do you think would happen if you got caught using ChatGPT in Japan at school?
I couldn't pretend to know.
I assume they'd beat the fuck out of you. I don't know, but
No,
that's
what the fuck?
you know what I'm saying. But that's
I
not.
don't.
That's just. I guarantee you that's not a thing that's happening over there at the scale that it is here.
Again, we don't prioritize that shit here.
Right, but I'm saying, and the countries that do.
We had a candidate for president of the United States run on defunding the Department of Education, and people wanted that shit. So, like, what makes me think anybody in this country wants to actually have
Well, the
an
Department of
educated society?
Education doesn't fund public schools, but that's another conversation. But I'm saying the countries that do prioritize education, they're not doing this shit.
Doing what?
Like allowing kids to just skate by on doing nothing.
Do you know that, or
I don't know that for a fact. I am
they would
projecting.
Kill you if you got caught.
They wouldn't kill you, but like Japan. So I had a friend who like lived in Japan for a little bit, and he said that they go to school for like some ungodly amount of time every day, and then they go home, and the teachers will do random drop-ins at your house to make sure that you have a dedicated area in the home that is exclusively for homework, and that you're doing it like a set amount of time every day. Like they're spending 12 hours a day on schoolwork.
Check this out. Yes, many Japanese children are using AI, particularly for learning and creative tasks. A recent survey indicated that a significant percentage of elementary and junior high school students use AI tools like digital assistants and even generative like AI in ChatGPT, while some usage is for general assistance. A notable portion involves using AI for studying and homework, including tasks like structuring essays, getting explanations of math problems, and checking homework. It is here.
Maybe I should have been more clear. Not that they're not using it at all, but that they're not using it as a fundamental building block of their understanding. They're using it as a supplement.
I think that you should use it more.
I use it, but I'm not using it to build my understanding of something. Like I know how
it can be, like Arian's right, in the same way that Wikipedia can be used to build your understanding of something. It can be used, but I'm just mostly concerned about the unforeseen ways that it's going to change shit and put people out of work.
That's pretty foreseen, though. That shit gonna happen.
Yeah, but like in the ways that we don't know about yet, like industries that we haven't thought about AI completely wrecking.
Yeah,
I'm worried about podcasts, guys. I'm thinking. I'm looking out for number one here.
I mean, I definitely think.
Your takes.
No, that's the thing. Is like, I think sometimes we're too dumb for AI to take our jobs.
Well, see, that was a big, like, I do think there is a, I don't, there's just there, like the progress on this thing is inevitable, and it's like you're gonna have to adapt. But I do understand the argument. So, for instance, Timberland has, I think we talked about this, right? Where Timberland had signed that AI artist, and he's getting a lot of pushback. I do think there is things for humans to keep sacred as human, but even then, people still want generated human stuff, and there's just no escaping this shit. And so come to the conclusion that you just have to embrace it. You have to try to understand it. You have to try to work with it. And so when I went to college for philosophy, and they make you take like critical thinking classes. And to me, that's the main thing. If you're going to teach a kid how to use AI, you have to teach them critical thinking. What's the primary source? Understand how to research, how to find things, how to
Agreed.
sift through. Well, that to me, that's the remedy. It's not.
But do you think that's happening? I do not.
Well, but that, again, we don't fund public schools to the extent I think we do. There are good teachers out there that are teaching their kids how to navigate social media, how to navigate AI. Yes, absolutely. I know teachers. I know people in the school system. There are good people who are doing great things. I just think they're wholly underfunded, and we need to invest in that so that we can teach kids how to navigate through this shit. It's
I think what you said is a much better way to articulate what I've been trying to say, which is I think there is a lack of critical thinking to go along with the pervasiveness of AI.
Yeah, I mean that's with anything though. Um, I'm in the camp that people always have been stupid, always will be stupid, and there are people that understand how to navigate through all of that mess, through the weeds of humanity. But when I say stupid, I don't mean like really stupid. I just think there are people who prioritize like an understanding, and there are people who prioritize fun. There are people who prioritize I'm gonna get fucked up this weekend, like,
There are
and that's
people there are people who prioritize making money, and then there are people who prioritize the search for language and for truth
a
and
cool word for
knowledge.
that.
Which
That's a
one
cool
is
word for
which in this scenario?
Uh, well, I think in Big T in your creation of the Japanese school system, the priority is the thirst for knowledge. In
Okay.
your imagination of the American schools, which I would kind of agree with, the priority is the search for getting a job and making money.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think that's a good thing to strive for, but it just seems to me, and much of this is anecdotal, but I see teachers all the time talk about like you wouldn't believe the lack of learning that kids are doing right now.
I also
Well,
do
that's
think that's something that teachers have always said.
true, but I do believe there is some truth to that. Um, but again, I think the really good teachers and the teachers that a lot of the teachers that I know is they fight. It's like a good coach. You have to work with the players that you have rather than installing just your system. What are my players good at? So, you have to understand how kids learn. Like the dude that we had on this podcast, Dan McClellan.
Hmm.
He just put out a video today. Actually, it was really dope. Somebody asked him why he got kicked out of Northern Colorado University, and he was fucking up. He was like smoking weed, never went to class, had like a 0.2 or something like that. Got kicked out. Ended up graduating from Oxford. Like people learn different ways, different junctions of their life, and so approaching it with that mindset is much more healthy than these kids are fucking stupid. They don't learn. I mean, everybody's dealing with like different shit, man. Like I remember growing up, dog. I was a horrible student. Like couldn't, but it was because I was dealing with so much at home. Like there was nights I didn't eat. There was not, what I'm saying, nights staying up all night, hearing horrible things. Like kids are going through shit, and so it's hard to learn like that. And I think when good teachers take that approach, but it's also hard for those teachers to take that approach because they're so underpaid. They have to put so much effort into the class. I know teachers who are living a median life, but they put so much money into their classrooms. They're buying their supplies. They're buying the decorations for the rooms, shit like that. So I got a little soft spot for teachers, man, but I think it's important.
I agree. Speaking of the thirst for knowledge versus the thirst for profit, let's talk about Ocean Gate. You like that segue? You like that segue?
It's a good segue, man.
Real quick,
Yeah.
just so I don't get accused of being wrong. 2019, Arian, was the year that so of all the team records of home runs, I think 4 of the top 5 were in 2019. There were 6,800 home runs in 2019, and every other year it's like 52, 58, 54.
Wow, that sounds like whoever won the World Series that year had to be like a great team, like
Or that it was
all-time
the
great team.
opposite, that you could just...
No, because every other team is like you have to be better than these teams that are setting records out there.
I actually think 2021 was probably the hardest World Series to win, coming off COVID.
No.
Countries in a tough spot. People
Disagree.
are thirsting for America's pastime, and one team delivered.
No, like especially if you were in a state that had less severe lockdown policies during COVID, that's a massive advantage for whoever won the World Series that year.
I don't know. I think that was the unknown. So, if you brought fans back early, who knows what toll that could have taken.
Who are the teams that hit the most home runs in 2019?
In 2019?
Yeah.
Hold, please.
Who are those teams that set the records? Just curious to know.
The Minnesota Twins, New York Yankees, Houston Astros, Los Angeles Dodgers, Oakland Athletics, Chicago Cubs, Milwaukee Brewers, Atlanta Braves, Toronto Blue Jays, Boston Red Sox, New York Mets, Seattle Mariners, and at 13, the Washington Nationals.
So if you going into that postseason, if you had to beat teams like the Los Angeles Dodgers that were right at the top of that list, if you had to beat teams like the Milwaukee Brewers who were close to the top of that list, if you had to beat teams like the Houston Astros that were at the top of that list, man, you probably had the best baseball team ever. If you're going to take down those Giants.
There was some talent.
Who was the team? Who won?
Who won that year?
The Nationals.
Damn.
This
Wow.
One of can we talk real for a minute though?
Gave himself an alley-oop.
That's brazy, Arian.
And Arian, being real, it's like one of the weirdest championships any team has ever won in the history of sports, because they immediately went back to being one of the worst teams in baseball the next season. Like,
did they lose players?
Yeah. But it was just such an anomaly. And I think they were the last team in the playoffs.
Well, also our pitching staff got really, really hurt. So two of the best starters in baseball, not being able to pitch as well the year after, that's a big factor. Anthony Rendon realizing I'm Anthony Rendon. That was another big one.
Yeah,
for
it's
us.
just, and listen, it's great that they won the world. Like, you won the World Series. That's awesome. It's just so funny looking back on it that, like, Anthony Rendon was a big part of that.
Huge.
Patrick Corbin was incredible, who is actually, have you seen that he's good again now that Trump is back in office?
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. Yeah, no, it was an interesting year. But
and then we lost out on some free agents shortly thereafter, and some guys that went elsewhere, like Trey Turner, who I miss that guy every day. And the Nationals were in a spot where they couldn't really pay big contracts to that many players, because so much of our money was tied up in a future TV rights deal that we were still trying to claw back from the Baltimore Orioles. And so now that that's off our back, now we're getting okay again. It's been a long journey.
Turner, Scherzer, Soto, Strasburg, Corbin. Obviously had lost Harper the year or two before.
Yep, Zimmerman.
He was still there. No. In 2019?
He won the World Series, yeah.
He was still there?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. He played till 2021. I did not think he played that long.
Yeah. Howie Kendrick.
Daniel Murphy wasn't on that team, was he?
Was Daniel Murphy on that team? I don't think that he was, but can you fact check me on that? I'm not 100%.
No, he was on the Rockies in 2019.
Okay.
18 was his last year with the Nats.
Talking baseball. I just know my little corner.
Give it a few years, you'll be there.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm going to.
Hopefully, you'll get, God willing, one day you'll be able to witness a team that's as good as those 2019 Nationals that took down the best teams in the history of baseball offensively.
You know what I'm kind of like fearing? I got a little fear is if like my favorite player right now is Jackson Churio. Like I love the way this dude play. Like I'm excited to watch him play baseball. Like if he somehow goes to another team, I'm gonna be pissed though.
Yeah. You're
I'm gonna
going
be
to call him
upset.
greedy.
No, hell no, I ain't gonna go there, care. If he goes to if he goes to like a big market, it's gonna be hot. You know what I'm saying?
No, well,
Mhm.
he's young. They've got him for. I mean, the only way he'd go anywhere in the next like 5 years is if they trade him.
That's what I'm saying. Anything can happen. It's sports, dog. So, but I can see how fans can get upset, but I would never tweet at him in haste.
He's not a free
It's-
agent till 2032. So,
Oh, so we got a long time. We got a long
Arian, you
time.
know what would be a good video? You and I'll go to Nashville and we'll hit Broadway hard and do all that stuff, but then we'll go to a Nashville Sounds series, which is the Brewers AAA team, and we'll just aggressively scout every Brewers prospect that's on the Nashville Sounds.
I'm down with that. I get some boots and a hat too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm down.
Love it.
Oh,
But-
real quick before I'm
Yep.
excited about this. I'm so excited about this. I just got the tickets. Young Jeezy, maybe it's just Jeezy now. It was Young Jeezy when I was in college. Jeezy, he's having a concert, and you know I don't like to go to concerts, but I had to pull up for this one. It's in Atlanta at the end of July. It's a black tie event, so everybody gonna be wearing tuxes and like nice suits.
Mhm.
And he's playing all his like discography, but with the orchestra. Oh, dog, I'm hyped for this. This is gonna be so dope.
Where is
Jeezy,
that at?
In Atlanta, I don't know. I haven't even looked. I got the tickets.
Oh, it looks like it's at the Fox Theater. That's cool.
There you go. Yeah, it's gonna be really dope. Especially because have you ever had an artist that you saw live that you didn't like until you saw him live, and then when you saw him live, you was like, "Yo, it changed how I thought about him." That was Jeezy for me. So in early college, we went to go see him at Atlanta. They used to have this thing called birthday. I think it was birthday bash. I don't know what they used to call it, but all like Atlanta artists would come perform on the stage. And we went to that in college. And I saw all them cats, but I seen Jeezy, and I was like, I never really liked him. He was kind of getting the buzz, but when he performed, I was like, he did something to me. So I doubled back on his catalog, and you just feel it a little bit more. And he grew with him. He's been one of my favorites ever since. So I'm excited about this, man.
Take some videos.
I will take some videos.
Before we get into Ocean Gate, it's brought to you by Part of My Cheesesteak. Part of My Cheesesteak has a brand new combo on its menu, introducing the big one. Arian was just saying earlier, he was seeing a funny tweet, size matters. This is the big one. An original classic cheesesteak, your choice of brownie bites or donut dippers, and a drink, all for a discounted price. Perfect for the game day meal or late night eats. Part of My Cheesesteak offers a wide variety of cheesesteaks, loaded fries, and popular desserts, all delivered right to your door. Go to partofmycheesesteak.com. Order with code PMC20, PMC20. You get 20% off. Partofmycheesesteak.com. Promo code PMC20. All right, let's jump into Ocean Gate, the Titan II submersible. Two competing documentaries out there right now, and more information coming out from the Coast Guard hearings that we didn't know before. I don't know. I'm fascinated by the story. I'm trying to figure out why I'm so fascinated by it. But it's got a little bit of everything in there. Big T, do you find yourself interested in this at all?
Yes. I was when it first happened, and obviously it's been a couple years now, but now knowing that this guy was just like one of the world's great pieces of shit. Like it's sad. It's terrible for all those people that got on it, but like it is fascinating in a way.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I think the fact that there's so many parallels between the actual Titanic and this guy building this submersible that ended up imploding down right next to the Titanic is like it's crazy. It's a crazy story. It started with a guy, Stockton Rush. We've talked about him before. I didn't realize that Stockton Rush could trace his family lineage back to two different people that signed the Declaration of Independence.
Hey guys, real quick.
Yeah.
You know I'm doing my water fast, right? That's why I just came back. Look. I tried to try some new water.
Oh, there you go. Dunk your face in it?
No. That's too expensive. That's ridiculous.
He's a little late on this meme.
It's got to be 10,000. I'm a little late on this meme, but he just got his ass whooped in a race, You see that?
Yeah, by speed.
Yeah, I show speed.
I mean, you can't race speed.
No.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Have you had this before?
Mm-mm.
How is it?
It's all right.
It's a Saratoga water. How much does that run you?
Shit, I don't even know, man.
I've had it from the spring. The actual spring.
Is that bottle glass or plastic?
It's his glass.
Is Saratoga water actually from Saratoga Spring?
Yeah.
Actually, this is pretty good water, man. No free ads, but that's kind of free. Actually, this is pretty good. All right, sorry, man.
No, all good. We were just talking about the guy that started the company, Stockton Rush.
Yes.
So this guy, he could trace his family lineage back to the signing of the Declaration of Independence. He had one great grandfather or whatever, whose last name was Stockton, that signed it. And then he had another great grandfather whose last name was Rush that signed it. And his name, Stockton Rush, named after both sides of the family. He went to Princeton. He ended up marrying a woman whose great grandparents both died on the Titanic, which is crazy. So his wife's great grandparents were the Strausses. And if you've seen the movie Titanic, you see at the end when the ship is going down, spoiler alert, it goes down, two older people in bed, like holding on to each other as their suite fills up with water. That's based on her great grandparents who were on the ship. Her great grandfather, I think, ran Macy's department stores. So they were very wealthy. They wouldn't let him on a lifeboat. And so her great grandmother said, well, if he's going to go down with the ship, so will I. And they stayed together and went down with the ship. So that was the Titanic was actually the site of his wife's great grandparents' grave.
Well, how do they know that's what they said?
Because the survivors talked about it.
Oh, that's actually fire, dog.
Yeah, respect.
Yeah.
So this guy went to Princeton. He wanted to be an astronaut. He wanted to be a pilot and an astronaut. He built his own airplane, which, I mean, it's crazy to just like build your own airplane and then fly it. And then he got into submersibles. And he decided that he was more interested in what was going on underneath the water than he was in what was going on in outer space, which I can see why that might be kind of cool. You get, there's like 90% of the ocean that's been unexplored at depths. And so you want to check that out. But he also, in addition to wanting to be an explorer, he wanted to be like a mogul. He wanted to be an innovator that changed the world. He wanted to be the Elon Musk or the Jeff Bezos of the ocean, which is, he used to say that all the time. So he got more into like building that personal brand and his own ego than he did into the science of things. And that ultimately ended up biting him in the ass later on. But so this guy, I think he went to Princeton, got a bunch of degrees and started this company, Ocean Gate, that built some submersibles to go underwater. So there's a difference between a submersible and a submarine. And basically it's just a little bit smaller from what I know, but it's like classified entirely differently. And so there's very few submersibles that will take tourists or that will take paying customers on them because the process for getting it classed or getting it inspected by a third party or insured by a third party is kind of expensive, as you might imagine. And if you want to take customers on it, it's a lot more intense than just that, because you obviously need to make sure that these companies are keeping their customers safe and not just like putting crap down beneath the ocean that's going to implode and kill a bunch of people. So he started getting in the submersible industry, and he had a couple subs that were actually not bad subs. They worked. Antipodes was one of them, and Cyclops, I think, was another. So he used to go down and check out shipwrecks and, really like spend a lot of time underwater. And then he decided that he wanted to innovate. He wanted to move fast and break stuff. He wanted to be the Steve Jobs of submersibles. And to do that, if you wanted to have a big customer base, he needed to cut back on some of the costs associated with it. And some of those costs include the material of building the submersible, which has usually been titanium. But he wanted to make it lightweight for transportation, for mass production. And so he had an idea to build a submersible out of carbon fiber for the hull instead of rock solid titanium. Carbon fiber, it's way lighter. You can produce it way easier, and you find it in some airplanes, carbon fiber, skis, carbon fiber, surfboards, a lot of times carbon fiber. And
It's in planes?
Yeah.
So my wallet's made of carbon fiber. I don't know that I want to get on any vehicle that's made of the same material that my wallet is.
That's a fair, maybe not your wallet. What about my wallet, Big T?
What's your wallet made of?
Velcro.
Nice.
Yeah. But the big difference between planes and submersibles and submarines, one flies up in the air where the air pressure is very, very, very low, and the other goes underneath the water where the water pressure is extremely high. So he decided he was going to do carbon fiber, and he started making the hull, started getting it tested. He started selling tickets, which I actually shouldn't say tickets. This is an interesting part of this whole thing. And there's a lot of transcripts that came out from the Coast Guard hearings of people that worked for Ocean Gate, because he would hire some people to work for the company. A lot of times they didn't have a lot of experience. One person said that they were like a bookkeeper. They were an accountant, and they got hired because they were a Titaniac, which is apparently a fandom out there that I didn't know existed until recently. But there's Titaniacs that get obsessed with the Titanic, some from the movie, some from just reading the history of it. And they get just so focused on wanting to know everything about the Titanic and wanting to go visit the Titanic that it's almost like a compulsion that they have. So he would hire some of these Titaniacs, some of them right out of college, that would work for the company. But then if you wanted to travel on his subs, you would not be a customer. You would not be a passenger. You could not call yourself a passenger on it. You were a mission specialist. And that was his way of getting around the rules of paying customers on a sub that had not been classed or reviewed by an independent third party, a sub that had not been flagged by a country. So if you're gonna sail from the United States and be a United States ship, you have to deal with all the red tape that's associated with working with the U.S. Coast Guard. Then you get flagged as being an American ship. But if you're going to do that and you're going to have customers and passengers on it, then that adds way more red tape to it. So what he would do, he would find Titaniacs that were obsessed with this ship and they wanted to go visit it, and he'd charge them an arm and a leg for it. So like $150,000, $200,000. But you would call yourself a mission specialist. So he would give you a job on that ship, whether it was to help with the process of lowering it into the ocean, help with the process of screwing in the door, bolting the door shut. You had a job that you had to do, even though you didn't have any training whatsoever in marine, what's the word? Marine exploration.
Real quick on the Titaniacs.
Uh-huh.
If I promised you, like, I've seen the future, it's 100% safe. You can do whatever you want, and you can go see the Titanic. I think for free, anyone would do that, right? Or most people. Like, I would go do it for free. Yeah. If again, with the knowledge that it's 100% safe, you'll be fine. I'd pay, if they were like, it's $500 to go do it. I was like, well, okay, it's the Titanic. At $1,000, I'm out. What are you paying to go see the Titanic?
100% certainty?
Yeah, that you'd be completely fine.
I think that's about right. I think like $1,000. I don't have a fascination with the Titanic whatsoever. It would be cool to go see an old shipwreck. And if it's the Titanic, yeah, I guess that's a little bit more like there's some splash there. There's some pizzazz to seeing the Titanic. Sure. But yeah, I'd rather spend $1,000 to, like, I don't know, fly to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Hang out on the beach. But some people get like a fascination. Mad Dog or Mackenzie, do you guys have any big feelings towards the Titanic?
No. I don't. I mean, I watched the movie growing up, but I know girls that do, but I never had like a huge emotional attachment to the ship. No.
What percentage of girls that have the emotional attachment to the ship also have an emotional attachment to Leonardo DiCaprio
There
in
may be
1997?
Greater than 90.
There may be a correlation. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
sure there is. Yeah. But I think it's more the movie than the shipwreck itself. Yeah, I don't think it's like, I don't know a lot of girls that are like looking up facts about the actual Titanic sinking.
Yeah, it's like almost a romantic feeling that they have about the Titanic that they fall in love with.
Correct.
Never seen that movie either.
You haven't seen Titanic?
I've seen enough clips to get the
I
gist
think I
of
knew
it.
that. I think I knew that. Yeah.
She throws the thing overboard.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen 1997's Titanic.
If it makes a difference, there's one of the best boob scenes of all time in that movie.
That's what I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
Great boob scene. So this guy Stockton Rush puts together this company, Ocean Gate, and fortunately for us, I guess there's a lot of footage of Stockton Rush and the company building the sub, designing the sub, preparing the sub, going on the expeditions because he was obsessed with publicity. And so he filmed everything. He did a lot of interviews. He did, what was it? I think it was the CBS morning show that Bill Belichick and Jordan
Yeah,
Holloway.
Sunday morning, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so he had one of the reporters from that go on his sub and like hang out with him. And in some of the interviews, they were asking him about like the safety processes, all this stuff. And at one point he says, yeah, the ship is the sub's pretty much indestructible. And the news anchor goes, they said that about the Titanic. And he goes, yep, they did. And just like absolutely no self-awareness in that moment.
Well, and remember he showed him the like Logitech video game controller. He's like, this controls the whole thing. He's like, are you serious?
Yeah, the Logitech, it wasn't just a Logitech video game controller. It was also, it had 3D printed joysticks. So it was even aftermarket thumb joysticks on the Logitech controller, which ironically wasn't one of the things that screwed them up, although they did have some control issues on some other drives or other dives that they've taken. But that wasn't really the cause of it imploding. It would fail occasionally, and it just kind of added up to like his track record of not really caring that much about safety. And I mean, some of the parts, it's in a like gallows humor type way. It's funny to hear him say, like, yep, indestructible, just like the Titanic. Isn't that interesting? And kind of a ridiculous thing for somebody to say. But it is very sad because he died. He ended up dying on the sub. Also, the British billionaire Hamish Harding was on the sub. There was a Pakistani-British businessman, Shahzada Dawood. And then the saddest part, his 19-year-old son, Suleiman, was also on that, taking a trip with his dad. And I think his son, Suleiman, was like an expert at doing Rubik's Cubes. And so he brought a Rubik's Cube and wanted to like solve the lowest Rubik's Cube ever saw in terms of elevation. Like no one's ever solved a Rubik's Cube at the bottom of the ocean. And then there was also the French explorer Paul Henri, or PH as they call him, PH Narjolet. And his nickname was Mr. Titanic because he had been to see the Titanic so many times. He was actually an expert in the shipwreck, and they brought him on board to, I guess, help with guiding tours and help with safety. And he said a few times, like, yeah, I'm not really concerned about all these warnings you're giving about this company, because if I'm there, at least it's going to be safer than if I wasn't there. And I'm old. I've had a bunch of adventures. So he was kind of, he was pretty flippant too about the whole thing. But watching them build this sub is kind of crazy, knowing what we know now and how, like, there's no reason why he should have taken that into the ocean. No reason whatsoever. Like, I started to think that by the end of one of the documentaries, he might have just been suicidal. But then
I think there's an element of that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's either one of the craziest people to ever live or legit like had a death wish, and he's like, I'm taking these people down with me. And I mean, if you watch the documentary, he the safety concerns were brought up multiple times, and he's like, "Fuck
Oh, yeah.
that! I don't care. This thing's going." He fired people. If you said, "Hey, I don't think this is right," you just got fired.
Yeah, and he helped. He had help building it from Boeing, who was denied that they worked in a partnership with him.
By the
one of the
way,
parts. What's up?
not the company you want helping you build something. By the way,
No, but also I was a little bit confused after reading up about this partnership that they had with Boeing, because they very clearly had at least 2 Boeing employees that were helping them design and test the sub, the carbon fiber hull. And they used Boeing equipment at what appeared to be a Boeing facility. So like, were these 2 employees that were just like helping them in their time off, getting paid in their time off, but also using Boeing labs to do it? I don't know. It's Mark Negley and William Cook. And they did a 70-page design. They had renderings, manufacturing advice, technical analysis. And Boeing says Boeing was not a partner on the Titan and did not design or build it. That's what the Boeing spokesperson said. I don't think that Boeing would lie about anything through a spokesperson, would they?
it's tough to tell.
Yeah. So they were definitely involved to some extent, but not in like I wouldn't say that Boeing was the negligent one.
Well, there's I don't know if you've seen this. I can send it to you. There's a chart that one of the Boeing engineers sent to Stockton Rush, and I have no idea what any of this stuff means on it, but you can very clearly tell where they put the Ocean Gate sub on the chart, and it's below this red line that says "at risk" with a skull and crossbones on it.
Yeah, they actually put the skull and crossbones on the report. So they took this. I think it was like a quarter scale model of the Titan sub, and they put it into a pressure simulator. I don't know if you can call it a simulator, into a pressure chamber that cranks up the water pressure to simulate being at the bottom of the ocean. And as the water pressure gets progressively higher and higher and higher, then ideally you'll be able to tell when the sub is going to fail, when it's going to crack, when it becomes too much. And so Stockton Rush's big idea was, we're going to design an acoustic monitoring system, which is pretty much just attaching microphones all over the hull of the ship. And you'll be able to hear it when it starts to crack. And then ideally, if you get to a point where it's cracking too much, which is a very vague line to reach, it's like when it feels like that's a lot of cracks, then I'll stop and I'll come back to the surface. That was his big idea, but he was telling people, we have the most advanced safety procedure because we can hear the hull. If it's in a bad position, then we can just abort the mission. In reality, that's not how it works at all. But so he gets it tested, and it implodes, and he gets retested. It implodes again, and he was pissed off. It sounded like he was mad at Boeing because they would put this thing into their pressure machine, whatever they called it, and then his design would not work. And then he got mad at the people that were doing the test for him. He was like, "This is bullshit." And he also had people at the University of Washington help to design it and work on it. Their applied physics lab, they helped to work on it. But it was Stockton's idea to be like, I want carbon fiber. I want to see if carbon fiber can work. And what's crazy is, like, you can hear on some of the previous dives, when they go down, they're doing test dives. You go down and you can hear the sub popping and cracking on there. And people are like, whoa, what's that? And he's like, yep, that's what we call the carbon fiber being seasoned. It's the seasoning of the carbon fiber, like it's a cast iron pan.
Breaking it in.
Yeah, we're just breaking it. It's completely normal. Like, you get a glove, baseball glove, you're going to want to, it's not going to be great when you first use it. You have to use it a few times, then it really finds its groove. And
shaving cream, rubber bands, put it under the couch cushion.
Were you under the couch?
Yeah, or a mattress.
I was under the couch guy, my glove.
Yeah.
So on one
Aaron's
expedition,
got no idea what we're talking about.
No. Aaron, did you have a baseball glove growing up?
Mm-mm.
Did you season it?
No, I said That
Oh, that
is
was a
no.
They come stiff. You got
Ah,
to.
that kind of close. And bad podcasting either way. No, I did not have a glove.
Okay, yeah, you gotta break it in. You gotta rub oil on it.
My
I
dad would
see.
put mine in the oven.
Put it in the
Really?
oven.
Mm-hmm.
Did that work?
I think so,
I
relatively.
guess that kind of
A
makes
little
sense.
bit.
Make the leather more like malleable. I've just never
Yeah.
heard of that.
Yeah, not like too hot, but yeah, I think to just like loosen it up a little bit.
I remember this on Sandlot. Didn't they break a glove in on the Sandlot?
Yep.
Benny the Jet Rodriguez was showing what the fuck is that little dude? The little dork. What's his name?
Smalls.
Smalls. Telling Smalls how to break a glove in. Yeah. Benny the Jet. PF Flyers.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Big T. Great movie.
Seems a bit aggressive, but I'll allow it.
It's my fault, man. It's my fault.
So this was the carbon fiber getting seasoned as it would get lower.
So was he delusional or incompetent or both?
I think he was both.
But more delusional.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah. He was delusional about how competent he was.
Okay.
So he was in this like founder mindset where he's an innovator, and so there's always going to be a bunch of people telling him that what he's doing it breaks all the rules, it's not safe, and those guys are just haters. And so he was like, I can't listen to the haters, because if we listen to the haters, if you had asked, if what did Henry Ford say? Like, if I'd asked what the market wanted, they would have told me they wanted a faster horse, they wanted to set a car. And so like he looked up to these titans of industry, and he decided that that's what he was going to do, which I think just speaks to his ego and his narcissism, or more than wanting to learn more about the ocean or educate people or provide like a once in a lifetime experience to somebody. He was more concerned with being regarded as being an innovator and being like one of these rare people that changes the world through their own brain. And that led him down a very, very dangerous path. So he hired people that should know what they were doing. He hired their director of marine operations. The Scottish guy had a good head on his shoulders, and he would raise all these safety concerns to him, being like, hey, man, this is not, we haven't tested this enough. Why aren't we taking into account the results of this test when we're planning our dives? Are we going to take people down beneath the ocean on a hull that has been tested to show that it's not capable of withstanding those pressures? And eventually that guy got fired because he was causing too much of a stir. And it was like a whistleblower complaint, and he tried to fight even after he was fired. And eventually he just ran out of money because Stockton Rush tried to bankrupt him and get him kicked out of the country. So I feel bad for that guy, even though he did everything that he possibly could to make sure that this sub didn't take passengers on it. But there was one point down in the Bahamas when they were doing like a test dive down there, and it was cracking. It was making all these sounds. And the guy that was with him on the sub wrote like a big email to him, a series of emails, just at first trying to be delicate, being like, hey, Stockton, you're doing great things. Big fan of yours, buddy. Appreciate everything you're doing for the submersible community. However, this is a coffin that you're making for people. And he tried to describe why.
That's crazy.
And then Stockton was like, you sound like a hater right now. Are you being a hater? And he's like, no, I'm not being a hater. I think that you're a once in a lifetime human being. Appreciate you pushing the envelope. As a layman, here's what my big issue with Stockton Rush was when it came to the carbon fiber sub. The monitoring system he's got in place, it hears all these tiny little cracks, right? And that's, according to him, normal. But in reality, every crack that you hear is a small fiber of the carbon fiber snapping. And it's not going to repair itself because it isn't a living thing. It's not a tree. It's something that breaks that's going to get worse. It's weakening every single time you hear one of those things. And then at some point, it's not going to work at all. And in all the testing that he had for it, that showed the sub imploding and some of the dives that he took with it, where you heard these really, really loud cracks, he knew that it was getting worse. That's why I think he might have been suicidal. If he wasn't such a narcissist, I would think he was, because he knew that every single crack that he heard, that's just one step closer. You're going closer to dying. You're not. It's never going to get better from there. And after they came up from that dive in the Bahamas, the hull of the ship had a localized crack in it. That the dude that wrote the emails, he's like, I think the noise was coming from this one part of the sub. Might want to check that out. They looked at it, and yeah, there was a giant crack in the sub to the point where they had to throw the entire hull away. And then they asked Stockton, okay, what are we going to do? And he's like, let's build another one. And so they didn't change anything about the design, just built a new one using the same methods, one that he knew could not stand the depths of the ocean. And really, if you want to look at this with rose-colored glasses, this story is about the Titan II, a submarine that had been designed to fail at like 3,000 meters, somehow taking people to go see the Titanic and coming back to surface with everybody still alive. Like that's remarkable that it made it down there once.
That's crazy, dog. So the people that went on the excavation, is it excavation? Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Exploration
with him. Were they aware of the past failings of the earlier models? Were they even inquisitive about the durability of it?
I think they were probably inquisitive about the durability, but he did not provide they didn't know
they didn't get the Carfax. They didn't get the Carfax.
No, they didn't have the Carfax report on it. They had a great salesman that was like, yeah, this was owned by an old lady, just swam it to church and back every Sunday, hardly any miles on it. It's a great sub. I can see yourself in it. Why don't you have a seat? Picture yourself behind the wheel of this bad boy. But no,
carbon fiber.
They didn't have that shit. They didn't have but they did sign a bunch of releases saying we absolve Ocean Gate from any injury or death that results from this. They did call it an experimental craft. So that was their way of letting people know, hey, this is all experimental. You're taking your life in your own hands when you go on it. But they did not know the negligent history of the fact that he had this thing tested multiple times and it blew up on him every single time. And at some point he was just like, you know what? Science is a hater right now. This test is a hater and they're trying to hold me down. They can't stop me. So he was really into marketing it. He went on a bunch of TV shows, did a bunch of interviews. He wanted to get Pearl Jam to go on it, to go down to the bottom of the ocean just for publicity. So they were like, yeah, maybe we can get Pearl Jam the submarine, which is crazy. He also had an idea to make a floating city or a small town that he could submerge all at once and just have a town hang out at the bottom of it sounds like one very underrated aspect of this, or one underreported on aspect, is the probable high amounts of cocaine use this guy was doing.
Is he you think he's a ketamine guy as well?
Probably ketamine.
No, you're big on ketamine.
When I heard floating city that can be entirely submerged to go down to the bottom of the ocean, I thought cocaine. I could be wrong. It could be psychedelics, but he was definitely using there was some brain enhancement going on there. There has to be.
Damn, cuz. I don't know. That's why I stay out the ocean, but I am going on a cruise this summer. So,
you ever been on one?
That's why I'm doing it.
I'm very interested for you to report back.
Have you been on one?
Oh, brother, I'm a cruise guy.
You're a cruise guy?
Yeah.
Well, so I started talking about cruises, and all my social media feeds have been giving me ads for cruises. And the more I see, the more I like. And I think I'm going to pull this trigger.
If you do the cruise properly, it's a great vacation.
Well, give me some tip. Give me some.
I mean, the ship is the determining factor. Like I have faith that you're going on a nice ship.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it up.
Yeah.
Sure.
So and some of the newer ones, there's several that have just come out in the last year or two. They're crazy.
Like with water slides and shit like that. Them
They
type
all,
things?
most of them have that, but like I think Royal Caribbean has a new one that's like nuts. But yeah, if you do a cruise properly, it's great. The only thing, like, do you think you'll get seasick at all?
I doubt. I've never been one
Like
of those
I've
guys.
never had that issue, but like I know people who are like there's like patches they give you and pills and shit that like
Nah, I'd
some
probably
people
have
have
some
to
drinks.
take.
I'd be straight. I've never been
Yeah.
like a motion sickness or seasickness guys. Kind of soft, if you ask me.
Yeah, I've never had an issue with that, but some people do.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited because it's like basically like a party on a big ass boat. I mean, it is a big ass boat and it's a party. But I'm gonna bring the jets. That'll be fun, man.
And let me tell you, if you like to drink alcohol, boy is a cruise ship for you. It's arguably the number one thing there is to do on the ship.
Can we put that on a quote card, please? Big T on cruise. If you like to drink alcohol, boy is a cruise ship for you.
The last cruise I went on a few years ago, the like signature drink was called a mango meltdown. Oh, I had some mango meltdowns.
Okay, yeah. No, I'm in, man. Now you get me more excited.
Yeah. No, I think you'll like a cruise.
The only thing is like life rafts and shit. That has to be a plenty.
Oh
They-
yeah,
they
yeah.
do a
When
good-
you
they do a good
first
job.
get on,
Okay.
you have to go do a little safety thing, and they're like, if the ship goes down, there's this, that, and the other. It's
Alright.
not going to go down. It's fine.
Big T, the topic of this podcast is
Yeah. That was a hastily put together fucking little
you're not wrong. It's
thing
just I
by
don't like
this guy on
like-
cocaine. Not these companies are billion-dollar companies. They know what they're doing.
I'm not superstitious at all. And I don't but I don't play about the ocean.
I agree. No,
I
that's
just-
how you know. That's how you know it's fine because I'm
I will-
100% with you.
I'll fuck around convert Christianity right before, just in case. You know what I mean?
Now, if you don't,
Keep
I
me
will
safe, big dog.
I will say what you have to do once is go up to one of the top or just on your balcony, whatever, at night and just look out at the vast black nothingness. Just the darkest you've ever seen. You can't see a thing.
There's no stars?
Nothing.
Why aren't there stars?
I guess maybe sometimes there are, but like I've seen it where it's just pure black. It's just
'Cause
the
of light
ocean
pollution.
as far as you can see.
Well, I would think if you're in the middle of the ocean, there is no light pollution, right?
But
Or
on the
little-
ship,
little.
around you, on the ship.
I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait.
That's going to be fun.
It is gonna be fun. I'm gonna have like a little camcorder. Maybe I'll document the whole
What
thing.
cruise line are you going on?
See, I haven't gotten that far yet.
All right,
I'm
we'll
not
talk.
good at.
We'll talk. I'll
Yeah,
send you.
I'm not good at planning, man.
No, I'll send you the best ships.
Does planning get anybody else anxiety?
I love planning,
It's like the
particularly
opposite.
vacations. I got home from a vacation on like New Year's Day last year and immediately started planning my vacation that I'm going on in a week.
See, I'm the exact. As soon as like when I get off this podcast today, I gotta go in there and go through all the logistics and how much this gonna plane tickets, where we stay, all that shit. Oh God,
I'll do it
fuck
for
that.
you.
I hate that shit. With
Send
a
me your credit
passion.
card number. I'll do it.
All right, I'll let you in on the planet. I hate that shit. It's just like it gives me this like it feels like it feels like a math workbook packet that you just have to do.
I could not disagree more.
It just feels that's what it feels like to me.
Because see,
Feels
here's the
like-
deal. Once I'm on vacation, the second I get there, I'm counting down to when I'm leaving. I'm like, well, shit, it's almost over. The planning and the anticipation is the best part. Once I get to the second day of vacation, I'm like, well, it's only 3 days till it's the day before the last day, and then that's really the last day.
Golly, dog.
Yeah.
Live in the moment, man.
I'm
That's
telling you.
real.
But when you're planning it, you're like, man, endless possibilities.
Does alcohol curtail that emotion that it's almost over? Where it allows you to just live a little bit in the moment?
For me, not really. But like I said, I love the anticipation of vacation, and I love going on vacation too. But like once I'm there,
That tracks because that's you like that with Christmas too. You like
correct, 100%.
Yeah.
My favorite day of the year is Christmas Eve.
Yeah. It tracks. Excited about
But
that.
then by 11 a.m. on Christmas, you're like, well, Christmas is over.
Mm-hmm. Look at all these boxes.
That's the shitty part about Christmas, though. All those wrappers, bunch of styrofoam, maybe plastic, but bubble wrapping's alright though. I fuck with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, bubble wrap is pretty great.
Never go wrong.
I got a couple more things about the Titan and Ocean Gate that I want to get to.
Oh shoot,
So
my fault.
no, it's all good. In 2018, there were I think about 40 scientists, explorers, and industry leaders that wrote a letter to Stockton Rush saying, "Hey, you're going to kill somebody." They were like, "Hey, you got an experimental approach, which is cool. However, you're probably going to kill yourself and other people, and it's going to fuck up all our businesses because I would imagine right now the submersible industry really took a hit after the Ocean Gate implosion. Like, is anybody getting back on a sub and going underneath the ocean right now?
Yeah, I probably fucked it up.
I guess you could say it really went under. But these guys told him no uncertain terms. You're going to fuck everything up. There's only 10 submarines in the entire world that can go 4,000 meters or deeper, and all of them are certified except Ocean Gate. Out of the entire population of submersibles, 90 to 95% are certified, and you're in the 5 to 10% fringe. So that was actually surprised me. There's only 10 submarines that can go beneath 4,000 meters. That's kind of crazy.
I mean, that's very, very deep.
It's very deep, yeah, but only 10 in the entire world.
I mean, yeah, it's got to be a pretty small group.
James Cameron probably owns 5 of them.
Oh yeah, he's a big Titanic guy.
I would say James Cameron's a freak.
He's a saint.
Arian, do you get concerned with his love of going on these submersibles that, hey man, like if something happens to you down there, we're not getting Avatar 3.
That, I mean, yeah, he need to chill a little bit, but it's because his shit's certified though.
Oh yeah.
So
he's a safety freak.
Yeah, he does the correct thing. So it's more of an inquisitive, and he's not trying to be known for the, it's not much of an ego thing. It's just like I think he's actually interested. Why I can't relate to, but hey, go
follow your passions.
Yeah, do what you love to do, man.
So the other thing where they should have, like, there's so many different spots in this where he should have been like, this isn't working, I need to stop so I don't die. But one of the craziest ones is what happened on dive 80. That was the 80th dive that they took in the Titan. It was in 2022, and using the acoustic monitoring system, it registered like an abnormally loud pop or bang. And everybody on board heard it. They all freaked out. They got up to the surface. They get out. They talk about that huge bang that they heard. And they're like, yeah, it's probably fine. It's probably just more seasoning. But it was like crazy, crazy loud. But after dive 80, you could see, using his own real-time monitoring system that he built in, the acoustic monitoring system, that every noise after that point was way louder than it was before. It was like a breaking point for it. And they just kind of ignored it and kept going. They had if you look at the system that he put in place, if he had just listened to his like shitty safety feature that he designed, it probably would have stopped this from happening. But he wouldn't even listen to his shitty safety feature. So after dive 80, it was the wintertime coming up, and they wanted to put it in a dry dock either in the Bahamas or maybe in Washington State, which is where they were located. But instead, he decided that he was going to put this motherfucker in a parking lot in St. John's, Newfoundland. Gets pretty cold in Newfoundland. Gets very, very cold. And their director of engineering said, don't do it. It can't freeze, because if water gets into the sub and it's freezing outside, then what's going to happen to the water? It's going to freeze, it's going to expand, and it's going to just wreck the interior of the hull. It's going to smash all those carbon fibers. And he was like, no, we'll just leave it in a parking lot in Newfoundland over the course of wintertime, and I'm sure that'll be fine. So he did that. Then he went out and took that craft down to the bottom of the ocean, and it imploded. I think about how many meters above the actual Titanic. He got pretty close to it
I
on the
think
final dive.
I think it said the Titanic was like 3,800 and they were like 33.
Yeah, so they were pretty close. They got pretty close to it. And there's some footage that just came out from the Coast Guard hearings because, again, Ocean Gate recorded everything that they ever did. So you've got all this footage that you can look through and figure out what happened.
Which is kind of crazy when you're, beyond cutting corners. I don't even know what you'd call what they were doing, but
yeah, their money went to like social media and marketing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was about 3,300 meters, 90 minutes into the descent down to the Titanic, June 18th, 2023. And you hear a bang, and you can see the video of this. It's not pleasant to watch, but you hear a bang, and then you see Stockton Rush's wife, Wendy Rush, and she's listening in, and she hears it, and she says, "What was that bang?" And they had 400 meters to go, and then they just kind of go back to work. But apparently what that sound was the sub imploding on itself and everybody dying.
Well, and there's two guys with her, and one of them for sure knew that everybody was dead. The other one seemed to.
Yeah.
Which kind of raised the question to me, like, why the whole thing afterwards about, like, oh, maybe we're going to go find them. Like, They knew the second they heard that they were dead.
Yeah, and the Coast Guard, they had a microphone underwater, or maybe it was the U.S. Navy. I think it might have been the Navy. They had a microphone underwater like 900 miles away that picked up on the anomaly. And it's like they knew that was not ocean life making that sound. They knew that it was something man-made that made a large bang. And so the Navy had a pretty good idea that something imploded down there. But then it was all over the news because they said they've got 3 days worth of oxygen or whatever it was in there. They can't get out from the inside. They have to be let out by somebody. And then it became a news story where it's like Malaysian Air all over again. We got to find this thing, and hopefully everybody on board is still safe. But no, in reality, they were deader than dead. And it happened so fast. The implosion, they didn't feel any pain whatsoever. They were dead before.
Disintegrated.
Yeah, they were dead before they had the ability to feel anything.
So what are the physics of how it happened?
The carbon fiber got weak, and it would shift from all the pressure because of the weakness of the structure. And then either there was a crack that just became too much and it just popped, or there's also some theories that the carbon fiber it had shifted around due to the strain that it was under. And then at the seal where you would close the front of the sub, which was made out of titanium, the very front of the sub was titanium, but there was also a seal that went around that, sealing it to the carbon fiber, which isn't a great material to seal things to because it's not like completely flat. Oh, and also when they were making the seal for I forget the name of it, the porthole, whatever that window is, when they're making the seal to attach that, they're doing it like out in the open in a shop when there can be like contaminants that just land on it. They're not being very careful about like smoothing it down, wiping it down. There's a lot of bad things that happen, but maybe there was an area around that seal where after all the shifting had a little spot of weakness. And then that's where the point was that the water rushed in all of a sudden.
God damn.
You can go watch like a model of it, and I forget what the exact times are, but it's like the brain's pain response is 13 milliseconds, whatever it is, I don't know. And it's like it turned to dust in half that time.
Yeah, you had no idea what hit you. Absolutely none. But before that, you probably heard some crazy shit in terms of the sub creaking. That was probably very scary.
Remember on the news, they had like a countdown of like they're running out of air, like that we have 19 hours left.
Yeah, that was tailor-made for like the modern news to be like, okay, we need an update on where this sub might be. What are we looking for here?
So remains of the sub?
Yeah, they found it. They found it close to the Titanic, and it's like it looks similar to how it looked inside that pressure tube that they tested on. So it's all mangled, and the titanium ends of the sub still look like they're in great shape, and
Wow.
everything else is just shredded. Because after that moment when it implodes, it's not like anything down at the bottom of the ocean just turns to dust, because obviously like the Titanic is down there and you can see the Titanic, but it's more that instant pressurization happening, or I guess depressurization, that it's like an explosion. So it exploded from the inside out, and everything got just like blown to shit. And then after that, the pressure neutralizes and it just settles down at the bottom of the ocean.
Jesus Christ, what a way to go out, dog.
But I think this guy might have wanted to. I really do, because like everything about the whole process was like, yeah, dude, this thing blew up. Do you want to get into a full scale model of it?
But why would if that's the case, why would he want to take people down there with him?
Because he wanted to be Steve Jobs.
Well, he died too.
He was, yeah, it's true.
I still think he could have been saved if he wasn't on his Dr. Sebi stuff.
I think probably, yeah.
Who? Steve Jobs?
Mm-hmm. He wouldn't do like what the doctors told him. He just like ate fruits and vegetables and tried to cure himself naturally.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like he like people beat the cancer he had. I forget which one it is, but like it's possible to beat that cancer, and he wanted to Dr. Sebi that thing.
All right. Well, that does it for macrodosing. We'll see you guys next week. We're going to be doing the Ryder Cup next week. Excited about that.
Yeah, buddy. Excited about that. How the game feeling? You feeling good?
Yeah. Yeah. No, we're gonna fuck some shit up down there.
I hope you're not the ops, man. I hope I could. What are they? Do you know how you doing it? What's the format? Are they drafting people? Because last year we drafted, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be similar to last year, I think. Yeah.
Golf combine could be fun.
That would be actually fun. A little chipping competition, driving competition.
Yeah.
That should actually be fire. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Well, we will see you guys next week. Love you guys.